Hello, everyone. It's Anthony Bandiero, your favorite search and seizure attorney and instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training, bringing you another Roadside Chat. This question comes from an officer in Utah. They had two vehicles stopped for going past a police barrier. One driver became upset, yelling at the officers, making a scene. And the officer decided, hey, I'm going to release the other vehicle. Again, they both did the same violation, committed the same violation. And I'm going to release that guy because he's not acting like a fool, but I'm going to keep this guy here, the one that's yelling at me, and I'm going to cite him. Well, somebody said, well, you can't do that because you're treating them differently. And you're not allowed to do that under the Fourth Amendment, 14th Amendment, something like that, equal protection claim and so forth. Is that true? All right, no, that's not true. But I think what's going on here is something a little different. But let me, maybe a concern here, but let me just kind of give you the rules, okay? When it comes to enforcement of the laws, there's a couple of things I want you to keep in mind. Number one is, generally speaking, we do not care about what's in your brain. We do not care about pretext traffic stops. We don't care about your ulterior motives unless it's racial, religious, and so forth, right? Those are protected classes. But a lot of times we take enforcement action on people because we think that there's other things going on, right? Your classic pretext traffic stop, your classic, hey, there's a guy rolling around in a quiet neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning, slow rolling through the neighborhood, is not, not running a stop sign, not, blocking traffic or anything weird like that. But something's going on with this guy. So let me look for a reason to pull him over. We look at his license plate light is out. We stop him, and then boom, we've discovered that he's involved in some other criminal activity. That is fine, okay? That case is called Whren, W-H-R-E-N. The next thing we got to talk about is something called rational basis. So when we enforce laws, all we need to enforce them, even though unequally, is a rational basis, right? The rational basis is simply this. You're not able to enforce the law on everybody, okay? You pick the fastest car. You pick the car that is maybe not the fastest, but the one that you think is more culpable because, he's doing other things, right? It doesn't really matter because he's driving a Corvette, okay? It doesn't really matter. It's a rational basis. Is there a rational reason why you would have kicked this other person loose and just kept, in your enforcement action on the guy who's yelling at you? Absolutely. The rational basis would be simply, Your Honor, it's going to take me a while to actually deal with this guy now, and it's really not fair for this guy to be held up for longer. I'm just making stuff up because it doesn't really matter what you say. There's always a rational basis for everything you do. Your Honor, this guy is now more culpable of his violation than this person. This person doesn't seem to be yelling at me and so forth. This person is not even receptive to modifying their behavior. That's a rational basis. That's all. You don't. And by the way, you'll never be called on this. Okay, if you're in a trial and you're like, isn't it true you picked my client but didn't pick that one? Yes. Oh, so you're picking him out for, they're gonna probably accuse you of some kind of racial profiling, whatever. No, because I can't choose everybody. I can't enforce the law on everybody at the same time. It's only one of me, and this guy's yelling at me and so forth. So I need to focus on him and just kick this other guy loose. So it's rational basis. What I think may be going on is that you're not allowed to take enforcement action against somebody primarily because of their speech, right? You don't want to punish people because they are engaged in the First Amendment. But that's really, first of all, that's a very, very hard claim to win, okay? They call this the jaywalking exception. What that means is, hey, officer, do you ever arrest anybody for jaywalking, or do you normally just cite them? I always cite them, right? We don't arrest for jaywalking in my town. But you did arrest my client for jaywalking, and you only arrested him after he gave you lip and told you that the government is a farce and all this kind of stuff, and he kind of insulted you, and you said, hey, and then you said, if you keep talking like that, you're going to jail, and he wouldn't shut up, and then you took him to jail. That is the jaywalking exception. That is showing a motive to punish somebody for their lawfully engaged activity, right? Speech. That's not what's going on here, okay? It is very, very common for police officers to take enforcement action on people who are not receptive to modifying their behavior, okay? If you pulled over a car that was going 10 over and they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, I just got a job and I've been out of work for 3 months and I wanted to look my Sunday best and, you know, I took too long at home and now I'm running late. I just didn't want to be late, officer. Look at the email, looking for my boss, and he says, I'm looking forward to seeing you on Monday morning, and it's Monday morning, right? And the cop thinks to himself, you know what? This guy's gonna get a break today, right? This guy's gonna get a break today. There's no problem there. But you stop his doppelganger version of him, okay? The next day. And his doppelganger version is like, F you have no right over me, this is BS, all speed laws they're fascists and all this other stuff. And you're like, you know what? You're getting a ticket. There's not a problem with that if the mentality is, I'm not punishing you for how you feel about me. I'm punishing you, and by the way, punishing is not the right word. I'm taking enforcement action because we don't punish, the courts do, right? But I'm taking enforcement action on you because you're not receptive to changing your behavior, right? I can't punish you, and I will not punish you for what you say, but I will take enforcement action on what you do, okay? And if you do not want to be receptive to changing your behavior so that we all can kind of get along in this world when there's 6 billion of us, then I'm going to take enforcement action on you when I wouldn't have on your other version of you that actually was polite, a yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, because that I can work with that person. That person is probably going to lock it up and change their behavior and stop acting a fool, but you're not. So you need to go to court, and hopefully the judge will see the same thing I do and sentence you appropriately so that you can change your behavior. You see the difference? There it is right there. And that's what's going on with this guy blowing the checkpoint, okay? And rational basis, that alone is going to probably win the issue, or you want to take enforcement action because they will not change your behavior. But remember, don't ever enforce the law on somebody just because of their mouth, okay? That's a jaywalking exception. We don't care about what people say. I know we care, but not legally. We don't care in that sense. We don't punish people for their mouth. We punish people for their acts. And the way they're acting is part of that discretion. Capiche? Capiche. If you like what we're doing around here, like, subscribe, share with your friends, especially a video like this. This is actually a very good question. I can get more into it if you want. If you got any comments on this, let me know. I can definitely talk more about it and, you know, bring in some more case law and so forth. But it's a good question. All right? Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Until next time, my friends, you stay safe.